Hello and assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Kashif Kamran, and I welcome you all to the Advanced Audit and Assurance Practice to Pass webinar for exams in December 2020, being organized by ACCA Pakistan. Now, today is the fifth and the final day of this Advanced Audit and Assurance Practice to Pass webinar. And just before I start on with the proceedings, just a quick sound check. Is my sound clear to all of you? Okay, thank you very much. And secondly, can you see the screen sharing? Okay, that's wonderful. So let's start on with the proceeding for day 5. And just one excuse, the same excuse I had yesterday, that again, I'm not feeling well. I'm having severe cough. And so please excuse me anywhere during the session if I need to mute myself for some time in the deliverance of the lecture. So let's start on with the journey and let's start on with the day 5. Okay, now the agenda for day 5 is to discuss audit report, a very important area and a very regular area if you look at the past papers. So we cannot complete the webinar for advanced audit and assurance without discussing audit reporting. So let's discuss audit reporting as the day 5 agenda. Okay, so day 5, the final day, and audit report. And we will be discussing all about audit report in the next 3 hours. Now, first of all, if you look at my previous webinars, I have been consistently covering audit report as a topic, and I recommend you that you watch my previous webinar beside this webinar so that you have a better idea and a better control of the topic audit report. I'm recommending 3 webinars, the one I did in September 19, then the one I did in June 19, and then in the March 19. So these are 3 good webinars which can give you better knowledge and better idea of the topic reporting. Now, what's the agenda today? The agenda today is the article, which is the exam technique article part 5, and many hidden agenda, which will come during the course of the next 3 hours. So recommendable article, yes, there is one recommendable article, which is an exam technique article, part 5, which is about audit report. Then obviously during the session today, we will be doing analysis of the examiner do's and don'ts. I will be going over 3 questions today. One question from December 13 exams, which is on going concern. One question from December 17 exams on matters impact on opinion. And one question from June 19 exams, which is matters to be communicated to those charged with governance. So I've chosen 3 diversified questions, considering their importance to December exams. Going concern looks a very potential area, and you should be preparing this area in a very effective manner. Then December 17, impact and matters, a very common phenomena of the past papers, and then matters to be communicated to those charged with governance. This also looks very important, right, for exams coming up in December. And this also looks very important for exams coming up in December. And on the basis of the drilling, there are 2 home questions for you, right? So this is the agenda in front of your screen. Okay, now starting on with the session and focusing on what you need to know about audit report. Now, first of all, on my first day of the webinar, where I was discussing with you the criticism of the examiner and the March 2020 paper, which is the most updated paper on the ACCA website. If just 1 minute, please. The March 2020 paper, right, which is the most latest paper available on the ACCA website. And if you look at the examiner report for that March 2020 paper, look at the title. The title says, "Not happy with audit report." The examiner is not happy with students approaching the audit report. Let's see what is the cause of unhappiness for the examiner. Number one, a large number of candidates demonstrate a weak understanding of reporting. That's quite shocking. A large number of candidates demonstrate a weak understanding of reporting. This is the examiner feedback from the March 2020 paper. So he's not happy with the student knowledge on reporting. How can you address your knowledge on reporting? How can you revise the knowledge on reporting? You still have another 4 weeks. How would you go about it? I will be giving you some suggestions on that. Number two, candidates are urged to obtain an understanding of the proper use of audit opinions and the contents of the audit report. So examiner wants you to have a proper understanding of the opinions and understanding of the contents of the report. So examiner wants you to have a very good understanding of the audit opinions and a very good understanding of the contents of the report, and he is urging you to do that. Number three, candidates are urged to obtain the understanding of ISA 700 and to read exam technique article which I just recommended you, that are published on ACCA website regarding a reporting style question. So if you read this technique article, you will get to know the reporting questions, what sort of reporting questions comes in the past paper. So this is a wonderful article if you explore this and you spend time on it. So there are two urged by the examiner. One urged by the examiner is that you should have a proper knowledge on audit opinions and you should have a proper knowledge on the contents of the audit report. And then he wants you to know the types of reporting questions which comes in the past paper through the exam technique article, but he's very concerned about students having weak understanding of reporting. The last thing, these provide detailed guidance on how to approach and answer questions surrounding specific topic area relevant to advanced audit and assurance. So examiner is saying this technique article, which I have written, is a wonderful article because it provides you detailed guidance on how to approach and answer the question. So if you want to have a very clear idea on how to approach and how to answer, then this technique article will be helpful. Now see what your examiner wants from you. What is the examiner expectation? If you just put the examiner expectation on the Word file, day 5, and we start from examiner expectation. So let's see if we can meet the examiner expectation by the end of the session. Examiner expectations. Number one, examiner wants students to have knowledge, on audit report. Particularly, the examiner wants you to have knowledge on the audit report in terms of the audit opinions, and he wants you to have knowledge about the contents of the audit report. Number two, the examiner expectation is to read the exam technique article part 5, and the examiner wants you to read the exam technique article part 5 just because you know the exam questions style, the exam question styles, and you also know how to answer. But examiner is not happy with students, right? He wants you to have knowledge, number one, and then he wants you to know the techniques. So for techniques, you have the article. But what to do about knowledge? For techniques, you have an article. What to do for knowledge? What to do for knowledge? Now, just 1 minute. Okay, what to do for knowledge? Now, where can the knowledge come from? Now, first of all, you should have knowledge, right? Now, you can have knowledge of the opinions and the contents of the report, preferably by read the textbook. You must be having a chapter, just one chapter in the textbook. Either it's a BPP book or it's a Kaplan book. I think this is the second time I am recommending you to read the textbook. I earlier recommended you to read the textbook on ethics or the code of conduct, right? And this is the second time I am recommending you to read the textbook because the only article available on report is techniques, right? So where will you get the knowledge from? You will get the knowledge from reading the textbook, the chapter, BPP or Kaplan. So you have a very good knowledge about opinions. You have very good knowledge about key audit matters. You have very good knowledge about emphasis of the meta paragraph. You have very good knowledge about other meta paragraph, and you have a very good knowledge about other information para. So when you should be very good on these areas, right? And you should be very good on material uncertainty relating to going concern. Material uncertainty relating to going concern. These are fundamental areas of the audit report. I hope you all agree, right? These are fundamental areas of the report. Opinions, material uncertainty relating to going concern, key audit matters, emphasis of a meta paragraph, other meta paragraphs, and other information paragraphs. Now, in my previous webinars, I have given the rules and regulations of these paragraphs. If you want to know the opinions in the paragraph, you can also refer to my previous webinars. So even the source of knowledge can be the previous webinars, the one I recommended you. If you don't want to read the books, so watch my previous webinars. So, but you should have knowledge. You should have knowledge, right? Is that clear to everyone? So should you have knowledge about opinions, material uncertainty relating to going concern, the key audit matters, the emphasis of a meta paragraph, everyone, right? Should you have other meta paragraph and other information paragraph? Okay, that's great. So please ensure you have knowledge, because without knowledge, you cannot attempt a question on reporting. Because if you don't know the opinions, you don't know the material uncertainty, you don't know the key audit matters, you might mess up a reporting question. Now, you need to realize that when you look at your exam paper, the AAA exam paper, and each time in the AAA exam paper, the question number 2 of your paper, the question number 2 is set at the stage of completion, and the question number 2 is set at the stage of reporting. Now, when you know this question number 2 is a static question, which is at the stage of completion and reporting, right? So you should be strong on reporting, because in every exam sitting, you will get a question on reporting. You should be strong on reporting. The marks for reporting can be less or more, because examiner can give you a question on completion as well. Not necessarily reporting, but reporting is a must part. Examiner will never skip reporting from question number 2. But yes, in certain exam settings, we have seen that the reporting marks were very less, but completion marks were more. But can you expect an exam setting without reporting? Not at all. So you should be strong on reporting. You should attack the marks for reporting. The marks for reporting can be less or more, but you should be very strong. But if your knowledge is weak, you will mess up a reporting answer. I hope you agree with me. If your knowledge is weak, you will mess up a reporting answer. Student give wrong opinions. When you have to give a key audit matter, you give qualified opinion. When you have to give an adverse opinion, you give a qualified opinion. When you have to give an emphasis of a meta paragraph, you give a disclaimer of opinion. When you have to give a disclaimer of opinion, you give a key audit meta paragraph. You do so much mess in a reporting question because you're not fully aware of the rules, or you have not read the book carefully, right? So please ensure you revise the knowledge on reporting. I have covered the material uncertainty, I've covered the opinions, I've covered the key audit matters, I've covered the emphasis of a meta paragraph, I've covered the other meta paragraph and other information paragraph, all in my previous webinars, right? Is that clear, everyone? So will you be going down revising the knowledge from the book or the previous webinars? But please ensure till the time you don't have a sound knowledge, you might mess up a reporting question. And that is the reason the examiner was very critical. That was the reason the examiner was very critical, saying that a large number of students had a weak understanding of reporting. Examiner is not happy. So if you want to make your examiner happy and pass the AAA paper, you want to ensure that you spend time on reporting. You want to ensure that you have proper knowledge of reporting. I hope that's clear to all of you, right? Okay, now moving forward, please ensure you go through my previous webinar. I have some important understandings for you. Number one, it's very, very important for all of you to read through the examining team article on reporting. It's a must, right? Will all of you be reading the examining team article on reporting, part 5? Because that article will tell you the techniques to write an answer. That article will tell you the blunders the student do in the exam paper and might change your mindset. So important to read through all examining team articles on reporting. Number 2, extract knowledge and maintain notes before you sit to practice. It is very, very essential that before you practice a reporting question, you should have your notes. You should have your notes of knowledge. Either you're reading the BBB book or a Kaplan book, maintain your short notes. Or you are watching my previous webinars, maintain short notes. So once you have a short notes with you on reporting, then you can solve a question on reporting, because the chances that you will do a mess in a reporting question will go down. So will all of you maintain your notes? Will all of you make a summarized notes for reporting while you're reading the books or you're going through the previous webinars? Everyone? Okay, good. Number 3, practice recent attempt papers. Please ensure that when you're preparing for December exams, practice the recent papers on reporting. The recent papers can be from 2017 onwards. So from 2017 onwards, try to practice questions on reporting, because they will give you the right exam rigor. If you want to take the right exam rigor for reporting, please ensure that you practice recent questions on reporting rather than practicing old questions on reporting. Next, be aware that a reporting question is not just asking for impact on opinion. I've seen so many students who have a mindset that the only thing the examiner asks for in a reporting question is impact on opinion, nothing else. Please change your mindset. Be aware that a reporting question is not just asking impact on opinion. It is broader. It is a broader question and includes actions, matters, critical appraisal of the report, and impact on the audit report. So if you go to your exam hall with the mindset that a reporting question only asks for impact on opinion, you might struggle, because a reporting question can even ask you critically appraise the report, or a reporting question might ask you explain the impact on the audit report, or the reporting question can ask you actions, or the reporting question can ask you matters. So if you look at the exam technique article and you practice the past papers, will you have a proper scope of the requirements? Will you know the scope of the requirements if you read the examiner article and you practice papers from 2017 onwards? Will that give you a better idea of the bullet number 4? Everyone, will you know exactly what sort of questions comes in on reporting? Right, so please ensure you have a clear mindset of the types of questions which comes on reporting. Next, understand the difference between impact on opinion. Understand the difference between impact on opinion, impact on financial statements, and the impact on the report. This is very, very important, because students goes to the exam hall knowing that the examiner in a reporting question will only ask for impact on opinion. But the bullet number 5th is telling you understand the difference between impact on opinion, impact on financial statement, and impact on report. Try to understand this. This is something so very important that I just want to discuss that with you. Whenever you look at a reporting question, in a reporting question, suppose you're reading a reporting question and the examiner says, explain the impact on, and the student don't read after. They think by default the impact the examiner will ask in a reporting question will be the impact on opinion. So they just read the word impact in a reporting question. They just read the word impact in a question on reporting, and they think, oh, this impact is on the opinion. Are you getting my point? But the examiner is saying you should know the difference. You should know the difference that in certain past papers, the examiner has asked for explain the impact on audit opinion. In certain past papers, the examiner has asked for explain the impact on the audit report. And in certain past papers, the examiner has asked for explain the impact on the financial statements. They are not the same. They're all three different things. Impact, impact. So the moment you read the word impact in exam paper and the moment you read the word impact in your December paper, will you just think the impact is on the opinion, or will you carefully read which impact is the examiner asking for? Are you getting my point, everyone? Will you carefully read what impact is the examiner asking for? Is it the impact on the opinion? Is it the impact on the audit report? Is it the impact on the financial state? It will change the answer, right? It will change your answer. Now, if the examiner is asking for an impact on opinion, right, that means you just need to read the case. You just need to read the case and identify the issue. And for the issue identify, think of the right opinion. Think of the right opinion. Now, how many types of opinions are there? Think of the right opinion. Either you will think about an unqualified opinion by looking at the situation in the case study, or you will think about a qualified opinion, or you will think about an adverse opinion, or you will think about disclaimer of opinion. So when the question is asking impact on opinion, when the question is asking impact on opinion, will you think about emphasis of a meta paragraph? If the question is asking for opinion, will you think about material uncertainty relating to going concern? When the question is asking for opinion, will you consider key audit matter? Tell me, if the question is asking for opinion, what are you thinking? You are thinking something out of the four here, everyone? When the question is asking for opinion, are you thinking something out of the four here on your screen? Or are you thinking about key audit matters? Are you thinking about emphasis of a meta paragraph? You're just thinking about opinion, right? So whatever the problem is in the case study, or whatever the issue is in the case study, carefully read it and see for that particular issue, should you give an unqualified opinion, should you give a qualified opinion, should you give an adverse opinion, or a disclaimer of opinion? So is that clear to everyone? So when the question asks for impact on opinion, will you know the radius of your answer? So if anyone mistakenly writes emphasis of a meta paragraph, will that be wrong in the first requirement? Right? If someone writes key audit matter in the first requirement, will that be wrong? If someone writes material uncertainty relating to going concern in the first requirement, will that be wrong? Yes. Now look at the second requirement. The second requirement says, explain the impact on the audit report. Now, do you believe audit report is a broader word than audit opinion? Audit report is a broader word than audit opinion. Audit report Audit report is a broader terminology than audit opinion. Am I right? Is the bullet number one true? Do you all agree this is true? Very good, thank you. Okay, audit report is broader terminology than audit opinion. And the audit report includes number one, opinions, and the audit report includes paragraphs. How many opinions the audit report include? Unqualified, qualified, adverse, disclaimer. And the audit report can include material uncertainty relating to going concern, material uncertainty relating to going concern. The audit report can include paragraphs like key audit matter, key audit matters, can include emphasis of matter, can include other matter para, can include other information para. I think the other information came in the last exam paper, which was September 2020, which just of which the results was recently announced. Okay, so when the examiner says audit report, impact on audit report, so in that case, will you read the case carefully? Because the problem given in the case, just 1 minute, the problem given in the case, read the issue or read the problem in the case carefully and judge the right impact on audit report for the issue or problem. Judge the right impact on the opinion or judge the right impact on the report. So is it necessarily that when the examiner asks for explain the impact on report, is it necessarily that the question only contains a problem which leads to a qualified opinion? Or the question can contain something which can result into an emphasis of a meta paragraph? Or the question can contain something which can result into a key audit meta paragraph? Or the question can include something which can convert to a material uncertainty relating to going concern? Is everyone clear on that? So when you are attempting a question which says impact on report, so do you believe the problem or the issue given in the exam paper can be any problem? The problem can relate to going concern. The problem can relate to a qualified opinion. The problem can relate to an emphasis of a matter paragraph. So is it more difficult impact on report? Because it includes so many things. And you need to judge the right impact. And that's where you do the mess in the exam paper, because you have lack of knowledge, or either you just believe that impact on report and impact on opinion is the same jargon. Do you believe impact on report and impact on opinion is the same jargon? Right? I've already covered these paragraphs, right, Ramiz, in my previous webinars. So please watch my previous webinars, right, for all paragraphs and all opinions. I've covered good amount of knowledge in my previous webinars, right? So I just don't want to repeat things up. But is everyone becoming clear between a difference of impact on opinion and impact on report? So will you read the question carefully? Okay, the last thing, impact on the financial statement. Is the examiner asking for the impact on opinion? Is the examiner asking for the impact on report? No, examiner is asking for impact on the financial statement. So read the case carefully and for the issue identified, judge the impact on financial statements. What is the impact on the financial statement? The impact on the financial statement is understated. The impact on the financial statement is overstated. Or the impact on the financial statement is financial statements are materially misstated. Just like a risk question. Suppose, example, the question says the related party disclosure is not made. The related party disclosure is not made. Do you need to write the impact on the opinion, or do you need to write the impact on the financial statement? The question says the related party disclosure is not made. So, what is the impact on the financial statement? What is the impact on the financial statement? Do you all agree? Do you all agree that the financial statements are materially misstated because disclosure is not made? Is that the impact on the financial statement? Agree, disagree? Okay, that's good. Take one last example. Suppose the share based payment expense is not recorded. The share based payment expense is not recorded, right? And it is a cash settled. It is a cash settled share based payment expense not recorded. So, what is the impact? So, what is the impact on financial statements? Do you agree? In this case, the liability, the liability and expenses are understated. Do you agree? Yes. And the question can come jumbled up as well, right? You can get a jumbled question. We have seen jumbled questions as well. And a same question asks you, explain the impact on the financial statement and on the audit opinion. Look at this question. Now, if you know individual parameters, will you be able to solve the jumbled questions? Explain the impact on the financial statement. So what is the first impact you will tell the examiner? You will first tell examiner the impact on the financial statement, right? And then you will tell the impact on the audit opinion. If a question comes like this, explain the impact on the financial statements and on the audit report. So will you be able to understand the two types of impacts here? So if you know the individual exercise we just did above, will that individual exercise help you with the jumbled questions? Right? Now, just one last thing before we take on the past papers. Look at this question. Explain the impact on the audit opinion and the audit report. Look at this last one. This is the most interesting. Explain the impact on the audit opinion and the audit report. Examiner is asking for explain the impact on the opinion. So in this question, will you just be thinking about the four opinions? Explain the impact on the opinion and the audit report. Right, take an example. Take an example of this third one carefully. Suppose the management has not recognized, the management has not recognized the allowance for bad debts. The management has not recognized the allowance for bad debts, which, according to the auditor, should be $5 million, right? Suppose the management has not recognized allowance for bad debts, right? Which, according to the auditor, should be $5 million, right? The auditor is concluding the $5 million is the allowance, but the management is not recording that, right? Full stop. The profit before tax of the company, the profit before tax of the company is $90 million. Okay, and the question is asking you, explain the impact on the opinion and the audit report. Now tell me, what should you do first? What will you do in the step one? In the step one, what will you do? In the step one, you will find the materiality, right? The materiality is $5 million, and you divide it by $90 million. So that is equal to how much? Okay, 5.5%, right? Of the profit. Thus material. Thus material. Full stop. Step two. discuss the issue. Discuss the issue. The issue is the issue is that the issue is that allowance is not recognized. Allowance is not recognized. The issue is that allowance is not recognized. Thus, the financial statements are materially misstated. Do you agree with that? Is that the issue, everyone? Is that the issue, that the allowance is not recognized and thus the financial statements are materially misstated? Have we calculated materiality in the step number 1? So the issue. Now, what is the in the step number 3? Judge the right impact. Judge the right impact on opinion. What is the right impact on opinion? Which opinion will the auditor give here? The auditor will give a qualified opinion, which is also known as an except for opinion, right? Any one of them. Okay, so you judge the materiality, you discuss the issue, you judge the right impact on opinion. So examiner was asking, explain the impact on opinion. So have you done the first part, everyone? Have you judged the right impact on opinion in this question? But is the examiner asking for and the audit report? So what will you do in the step 4? In the step 4, you will say, due to a qualified opinion, the auditor will issue, due to a qualified opinion, sorry for that, the auditor will issue a fill in the blank report. If the auditor issue a qualified opinion, the auditor will issue a fill in the blank report. Who will do the fill in the blank? Wonderful, very good answers. Due to a qualified opinion, the auditor will issue a modified report. So are we answering the second requirement of the examiner, impact on opinion, number 1? And because of the opinion, the impact on the report. So what is the impact on the report? Will the report becomes modified due to a qualified opinion? Everyone agrees to that? So we only have one issue, right? And that one issue is allowance is not recorded. So because of the reason allowance is not recorded, what is the opinion? Qualified. But because of the allowance not recorded, what sort of a report will I issue? Will I issue a modified report? So is everyone clear on the 4 steps? Right? How many types of reports are there? Modified report and how many types of reports are there? 2 types, right? Modified and unmodified. So have I done justice with the 4 requirements? 4 steps, sorry. So for step 1, I will get 1 mark. For the step 2, I'll get 1 mark. For the step 3, I'll get 1 mark. For the step 4, I'll get 1 mark. So minimum 4 marks in front of your screen. So is everyone clear? And if the examiner asks for impact on the financial statement, then I will tell that receivables are overstated and expenses are understated. Is that true? In the same situation, if the examiner asks for impact on the financial statement, will I say receivables are overstated and the expenses are understated? So please be watchful. So will you all remember this? Look at the bullet number second last on your screen. Carefully read the bullet number second last now yourself. 1 minute. Read the second last bullet yourself and tell me whether you are clear. So will you read the questions carefully back at home? You still have 4 weeks before exam. Will you read the questions carefully? And will you just think about the impact is only on opinion, or will you think about that I should read the line very carefully? It could be impact on anything, right? So will that make a bigger impact to your success? If you understand the difference between impact on opinion, impact on financial statement, and impact on the report? Okay, wonderful. Last, you should be clear with the reporting requirements. I will be solving some of them in my class today. And reporting rules. I've covered these reporting rules in my previous webinar, so I just recommended you to watch my previous webinars or read the book so that you know the rules, right? But I will be covering some of the requirements today, which are more important for exams in December 2020. But when you watch my previous webinars, you will also get to know the other requirements. So please watch my previous webinars, right? Is that clear? Just 1 minute, right? Okay, I hope you all can hear me, right? Uh, I just need to take a break of few seconds because again, the more I speak, the more I cough, right? Just 1 minute. Just for I'm waiting for another 10 seconds. Uh, Hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. Right. I just got a call from ACCA that there is some technical issues with the webinar, and they need to stop the webinar for 10 minutes, right? So the webinar will be disconnected for 10 minutes and it will resume back after 10 minutes, right? Is that clear to every one of you? So ACCA just called me during this webinar, and for that reason, I paused you. And they just want the webinar to be disconnected for 10 minutes. I think they have some technical problems and they want to sort that out, right? So just a 10 minutes break and we're coming back, right? But I hope you're very clear with the slide in front of you, right? Okay, we are just disconnecting and we'll resume back in 10 minutes. Please come back if you want to spend time on reporting. Thank you. Right, I'm just waiting for the disconnection of the webinar, right? It might disconnect anytime. Okay, just 1 minute, right? Into the conversation with ACCA on the WhatsApp, just to assure, should we continue with the webinar or should we stop? Just 1 minute, right? Okay, please take a 10 minutes break, right? We'll resume in 10 minutes, everyone. Don't exit from the webinar. Just continue with the webinar and take a 10 minutes break. I hope all of you can hear me, right? Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you can hear me. We are resuming the session back. The problem has been sorted out. Just a confirmation, you all can hear me, right? Okay, so no break. I'll give you break later. We were in the middle of the session, but due to some technical reasons, I got a call and I need to stop the webinar. And the problem has now been sorted out, so we are resuming back, right? So I hope you got the difference between impact on opinion, impact on the financial statement, and the impact on report. And you will be watching my previous webinars on audit report so that you are perfectly clear on the rules of reporting. And I will be discussing some requirements in my webinar today, which are important from exam point of view in December, and I have covered the other requirements in my previous webinar. So if you watch 3 previous webinars, I recommend it, plus this one, I hope that will be sufficient for you to be good on reporting. Okay, let's start the journey. Okay, now before I come to the marking scheme, we need to progress further. And in terms of this progressing further, we need to start on with the practice, which is the most important phase of the session today. In terms of practice, I've chosen 3 questions for December 2020. And the 3 questions I've chosen are with purpose because I consider a question like such is important for your upcoming exams in December. And I've covered the other questions in my previous webinar. I will be going with a December 13 paper, question number 5, which is on going concern. I will be doing this in my session, right? But I would prefer that you do a same going concern question as your home assignment. So December 18, question number 2 on going concern will become your assignment. So your self practice, sorry, right? This will be taken as your self practice. So that if in December 20 exams a question on going concern comes in, you are comfortable handling that question. The second type of question I will be doing today is I will be taking on the paper from December 17, question number 5, which is a question asking for methods and impact. And I would prefer on the basis of this, you will do a September 18 paper and you will do the question number 2 of the September 18 paper so that you know how to answer a question on matters and impact. So one question I'll do, one question you do, so that you gain confidence, right? And another question which has come only one time, which was in June 19 exams, question number 2B, which was communication to those charged with governance. And this question has only come once. So I will do this in the session. You have to repeat this question, right? So three questions we have today: June 19 question number 2 with purpose, December 17 question number 5 with purpose, and December 13 question number 5 with purpose, right? So three types of reporting questions will be going into the webinar today. And you on your screen, you can see your self-practice questions as well. I hope you're clear on that, right? Okay, let's first start with, okay, now when we look at the audit, when we look at the audit report, right? Audit report, there are two types of audit report, right? One which goes to the shareholder, and one is the audit report which goes to those charged with governance. As a student, I think you are more familiar with the audit report to shareholder. Am I right? Because the typical question which comes in the AAA paper is the audit report to shareholder, right? And you're more clear with audit report to shareholder, right? What do you study in the AA paper, the F8 paper, or what do you study in the P7 paper, the AAA paper? It's all about audit report to shareholder. But there is another report which is audit report to those charged with governance, on which the question came in June 19 exams. June 19 exams, right? And that is also referred as a management letter, right? I hope in the AA paper you must have heard this term known as a management letter, but that is very properly known as a report to those charged with governance. So auditor writes a report to those charged with governance, and auditor writes a report to the shareholder. And a question came in the June 19 exam, asking you communication to those charged with governance, and that is only one off. Now, just I proceed further. I hope you can see the website of AAA where you have the articles, right? Really sorry for that, but I cannot do anything. I have to conduct this session, and this is a live session, right? And the worst thing is that I cannot control my coughing as well, right? Because the more I speak, the more I cough. But I'm trying to control it as much as possible. So if you look at this website where you have the articles, right? And when you look at these articles, I have already recommended you to read this article, right? Which is the exam technique article part 5. Can you look at the first article in front of your screen now? This article, exam technique article part 5. So did I recommended you to read this exam technique article part 5? This will give you all you need to know about audit report to shareholders, right? But there is another article. You go down and look at this article. Towards the end of the articles, you will look at the article. Look at this article. Just 1 minute. Now look at the article. Right? Look at the third last article on your screen. Auditor reports to those charged with governance. Can you see this article in front of your screen? Auditor reports to those charged with governance. Please read this article before you attempt a question on June 19 exams. So will all of you be reading this article, auditor reports to those charged with governance? This is such an important article, right? Auditor reports to those charged with governance. So if you are attempting a question from June 19 exams, will this article help you? I'm sending the hyperlink of this article to all of you who are taking the live webinar. I hope all of you got the hyperlink of this article. and you can download this article, right? This is such an important article if you want to attempt a question on the June 19 exams. Okay, back. Okay, now later we'll come across this question, right, on those charged with governance. Okay, let's first go down with a question on going concern. A question on going concern. Now we know going concern is an important area in reporting. It looks very probable for December exams. It's a high important area, and you should be familiar with a question on going concern which has come in the past papers, and you should know what exactly the examiner asked for in a question on going concern. Now, going concern is a very important area when it comes to reporting, and you should have sound knowledge of attempting a question on going concern. I'm taking on the December 13 paper, question number 5, and you will be doing the December 18 paper yourself, same requirements. So once you understand the December 13 paper, you will be able to understand the December 18 paper. Let's look at the December 13 paper, question number 5. Okay, now right in front of your screen, you can see the December 13 paper. Everyone, you can see the December 13 paper, question number 5 in front of your screen. Okay, let's look at the requirements. Can you just read this first requirement for 6 marks? We are only doing the requirements on reporting, right? We're not doing any other requirements. So I'll be ignoring some of the requirements which are not on reporting. Okay, can you just read this requirement quickly in front of your screen? See what is the examiner asking for? Right, so in the first requirement, question number 5A and 5A1, the examiner is asking identify and explain the matters which cast doubt on the going concern status of the Burford company. How many marks we have? 6. Now what we need to do, let's take this from here. Let's copy the requirement. Let's paste the requirement here on my Word file. So the examiner is asking us a requirement, which I just need to study with you. It says identify and explain the matters. Which matters? Matters which cast doubt on the going concern status. So should I identify these matters from the case study which cast doubt on the going concern? And the marking scheme of a going concern matter in the exam paper, right? The marking scheme of a going concern matter, which you will identify from the case, is 2 marks per matter. This marking scheme was changed from December 18 exams, right? December 18 exams. So that's the most latest paper we have on going concern. So examiner changed the marking scheme to 2 marks, right? So if in the December 2020 exams, the examiner asks you to write going concern matters, how many marks will you get per going concern matter? 2. So every going concern matter is worth 2 marks. Identify and explain the matters which cast doubt. So should you read the case and identify matters which cast doubt on the going concern status of Burford, right? And how many matters will you be identifying when you're reading the case for 6 marks? 3 matters only to make up the 6 marks, right? Okay, I'm giving you the case 5 minutes. You will read the case and see if you can find 3 matters which may cast doubt on the going concern status, right? Okay, let's find the December 13 paper. Okay. Okay, can you read this much? Because after that, the requirement changes. For the going concern, we only have the 4 paragraphs in front of your screen. Can you read these 4 paragraphs in orange? I'm giving you 5 minutes And after the 5 minutes, you should have identified 3 matters which may cast doubt on the going concern status of Burford. Your time starts now. And after 3 to 4 minutes, I'll ask you whether you are done with it. Start. Okay, I hope all of you have read it. And you must have identified numerous matters which cast doubt on the going concern status of the Burford company. Right? This is a very typical question, right? Even if you do the December 18 paper, you will get the same requirement in the December 18 paper. Matters which may cast doubt. So a typical going concern question asks you matters which may cast doubt. Is that clear to everyone? So I hope you have found the matters and you agree with me. If we can reconcile the matters, everyone. The first matter, which all of you must have identified, number one, is a loss making company. A loss making company. Agree? Disagree? The second matter you must have identified is the current ratio. The current ratio fallen below 1, right? The third point you must have identified is the quick ratio. The quick ratio of 0.5. And the question tells you they have deteriorated further. So have they deteriorated further from 0.5 and 0.8? Is the question telling you they have deteriorated further, right? I think the next point you must have identified is a low cash balance. A low cash balance of $25,000 versus a loan of $80,000. Is that fine? And then you must have found a point that one of the quick fire, which generates 45% of sales, has become obsolete. I hope you agree with all of these 5 points, right? So how many points you need to write to make up a 6 marks answer? 3. Now it says matters which may cast doubt. So how will you get 2 marks? To get the 2 marks, the very first thing is to identify, and identify will give you 0.5 marks straight away. But then you have to explain. Then you have to explain how it casts doubt. If you're capable of explaining how it casts doubt, you will get 1.5 marks. Right? Let's take an example. Let's take an example and solve it. For example, the first point, loss making company. You explain it. See, how would I explain it for 2 marks? Burford, uh, financial results, financial results has changed dramatically, from the last year. Burford financial results has changed dramatically from the last year, and the company is now a loss making. The company is now a loss making. Did they had profit last year? So has it been a dramatic changes from the last year to this year, everyone? Right? So Burford financial results have changed dramatically from the last year, and the company is now loss making. A loss making company uh, becomes becomes less attractive for shareholders, as no shareholder like to invest in a loss making company where they failed to get return on their equity. So will the shareholders be happy? Will they keep their investments in Burford? Will they think about selling their investments in Burford? So do you believe that can be a consequence when a company becomes loss making? So loss making company becomes less attractive, right? So, and no shareholders would like to invest in a loss making company where they fail to get a return on their equity. Full stop. And you say the loss could be due to the quick the loss could be due to a quick fire product which became technically obsolete, which became technically obsolete. Can that be one of the reasons why the company has become loss making, that their sales have gone down? Quick fire product which became technically obsolete. So loss making company, do you believe loss making company casts doubt on the going concern status of Burford? Will it become less attractive as a company? And do you believe one of the reasons why they incurred loss was due to the quick fire product which became technically obsolete? So you need to develop your point, right? So once you develop your point, you will get 2 marks. And you go down with writing the answer in the same manner. Just one more point. Current ratio. And you write in the current ratio. The current ratio for Burford has fallen from 1.2 to 0.8 this year, which demonstrate, which brings a question mark, on the company ability to pay its obligation on time. Ideally, a current ratio, above 1 is suitable for most industries, and a fall below 1 sends panic among creditors, and a fall below 1 sends panic among creditors of the company. Will the creditors be under panic that the company's current ratio has fallen below 1? Will they be concerned about their their liabilities? And a fall below 1 send panic among creditors of the company. It will also, the fall below 1 also increases the risk of making also increases the risk of the loan repayment immediately. Will that increase the risk of the loan repayment immediately as well? So do you believe the company is under difficult trading position? The company is under difficult trading conditions. So I hope you're getting the sense. So it is not a difficult requirement in the exam paper, right? When a question comes on going concern, you simply need to identify the methods from the question which cast doubt on the going concern status. This is how you write them. And every method you write is worth 2 marks. So you look at the marking scheme, you divide it by 2, and you write the number of methods, right? I hope you're very clear with the first requirement. So you have to attempt a December 18 paper on the basis of this phenomena. Now look at the second part of this question, right? Question number 2, question number 5B. There is another part for evidence. I'm not covering evidence currently, which is the part 2. The part 2 is on audit evidence. You can solve that on your own looking at the previous webinars. I'm going from the part A to the part B. Can you read the requirements of the B part quickly in front of your screen for 6 marks? Okay, can all of you see the question on the screen? And can you read the B part highlighted in the orange? Okay, so what is the examiner asking in the B part? Is he asking for the report, impact on reports, implication for the report? Okay, let's see how. Okay, let's look at the B part requirement on your screen now. I just copied the requirement. Okay, second requirement. In respect of included in the Burford Company's financial statement, discuss. In respect of the note to be included in the Burford Company's financial statement, discuss the implication for the audit report. Do you believe this is the first requirement, discuss the implication for the audit report? And the second requirement is outline any further actions. Outline any further actions to be taken by the auditor. I'm using different colors to break the requirement, right? And I hope you all agree these are two different requirements. So the first thing the examiner wants us to do is discuss the implication. Implication means impact. So discuss the impact for the audit report, number 1. And number 2, outline. Outline means to recommend any further actions. Now, in a reporting question, apart from going concern, right? Going concern, every matter is worth 2 marks. But the normal marking scheme of a reporting question, any reporting question, right, is 1 mark per point. So 1 mark per point. Only a going concern matter is an exception. A going concern matter is worth 2 marks. Beside that, anything in a reporting question will be worth 1 mark. Is that clear to everyone? So anything you do in a reporting question is worth 1 mark, except for a going concern matter, which is worth 2 marks. Clear? Okay, that's great. Are the other students clear as well? Waiting for your answers. Are you clear on the marking scheme? Okay, that's great. Okay, so do we need to discuss two things here? The impact on the report and outline any actions? So we need to consider the impact for the audit report of what? Are we considering the impact on the audit report of what? In respect of the note, in respect of the note on the going concern to be included in the Burford Company's financial statement. So let's copy this and let's paste it here. So in respect of the note ongoing concern, in respect of the note ongoing concern to be included in the Burford Company's financial statement, colon, number one, I want you to discuss the impact on the report, discuss impact on report, and number two, outline further actions. Outline further actions. Right now, I'm showing you the case study. You will read the case study in like 2 minutes, and then tell me how would you go about uh, discuss the impact on the report. Right? Are you all ready to read the case and tell me the answer for discuss impact on report and outline further actions? So, what you need to read from the case? What you need to read from the case? The note on going concern to be included. Right? That is what you are reading from the case. Okay, let's show you the case. Okay, can you just read this paragraph, a small paragraph coming here, the B part, in respect of the note to be included? Okay, just read this orange paragraph in like 2 minutes, and let's see what should be the answer. Prepare yourself for an answer in 2 to 3 minutes. Arsalan Hussain, I hope you can see the exam paper in front of your screen now. Right, at times the student have a weak internet connection at their site, so probably the transition of the screen takes time in the webinar. Okay, have all of you read the paragraph in orange in front of your screen? Have you been able to identify the note to be included in the Burford Company's financial statement? Okay, that's great. Now, try to understand knowledge and try to gain knowledge and also gain the answer. And after this question, we'll take a break, and post break, we have two more questions to discuss. Okay, let's see what is the examiner asking for here. Just let me remove this highlighting options from here. Okay, now let's start reading it. Having completed the file review, you have concluded that the use of the going concern assumption is appropriate. As an auditor, right? As an auditor, you believe that the company is a going concern, but there are significant doubts, which are known as material uncertainties, over the Burford ability to continue as a going concern, and you have advised the company's audit committee that a note is required in the financial statement. I hope you all agree with that. You agree with the conclusion of the auditor. The auditor is giving us a conclusion, right, which is very, very important for the sake of your knowledge. Just 1 minute. Auditor is giving us a conclusion that the company is a going concern. However, the company is facing some material uncertainties relating to going concern, and they have advised the audit committee to include a note. This is an old paper, right? So you have concluded that the use of the going concern assumption is appropriate, but there is a significant doubt. Now, significant doubt means material uncertainty. Material uncertainty, right? That is the new jargon since the September 16 exams. Material uncertainty over the Burford ability to continue as going concern. You have advised the audit committee that a note is required in the financial statement. I hope you all agree about this note. Do all of you have the knowledge about this note? This note is known as material uncertainty relating to going concern. Do you know this note is included in the audit report, the MURGC paragraph? Is everyone familiar with this note? Do everyone have knowledge of this note? The MURGC paragraph. So is the auditor wanting this paragraph to come in the audit report? Are they asking the audit committee to include this paragraph in the audit report? Okay, let's see what is the audit committee doing. Is the audit committee agree or disagree? You go back to the case study and you read the case further. The audit committee is sorry, the audit committee is reluctant. Now, the moment you see the word reluctant, reluctant means disagree. If the audit committee or if the management disagree, will that result into a modified opinion? Will that result into a modified opinion if someone disagree with you? Right? So the audit committee is reluctant to include a detailed note due to a fear that the note will highlight the company's problem, but have agreed that a brief note will be included. Are they giving zero disclosures, or they're giving some disclosures? Are they giving the full note, or are they giving a partial note? So do you believe a partial note is better than a zero note? A partial note is better than a zero note? A partial note is better than a zero note? And do you believe a partial note is not good versus a full note? A partial note is not good versus a full note. But something is better than zero, right? Something is better. So let's see how to solve this question. The question says the audit committee is reluctant to give a full note, however, agrees to give a brief note, right? However, agrees to give a brief note. So the moment you see this word reluctant and the examiner is asking for impact on report, your impact on report would immediately be the impact on the opinion, because this is reluctance. Reluctance cannot give you a paragraph, right? You cannot have a paragraph for reluctance. You cannot have MURGC paragraph for reluctance, right? The paragraph only comes for favorable things when something is disclosed. If this would have been disclosed, then you would have given the MURGC paragraph. But when the management is reluctant, what is the impact on the report? So reluctant means the management is reluctant, so this will give rise to a modified opinion. And then you tell examiner which modified opinion. Do you all agree this will give rise to a modified opinion because the management is reluctant? And then you explain to the examiner which modified opinion. Qualified opinion. Now some might argue, why not an adverse opinion? Qualified opinion, which is also known as an except for opinion. The reason for that is a brief note is given. Had the committee not given any note, then it should had been adverse opinion. Please remember this. Look at my bullet number 3. Had the committee not given any note, it would have been an adverse opinion. But in this case, they have given a brief note. So tell me, is brief note better than a zero note? Will you treat a brief note and a zero note like same in the exam paper? Will you treat the brief note and the zero note as exactly the same things? So if the management doesn't give a note, that is very severe, that is very significant. But if the management gives a brief note, is there a cooling down effect? Is there a cooling down effect with a brief note? Do you understand there is a cooling down effect with a brief note? But a brief note is still a reluctant, right? So we cannot give an unqualified opinion, right? Management is reluctant, but at least have done something good. The good thing they've done is they've given a brief note. But obviously the brief note is not good in comparison to a full note. So do I have a variance between a full note and a brief note? Is there a variance between a brief note and a full note? right? So should I give a qualified opinion for the variance between a brief note and a full note? Right? And I would have given an adverse opinion if there was no note. Look at my third bullet. This is just for the knowledge, right? Don't write it in the answer. This is just for the knowledge. So impact on the report. So when the examiner is asking for impact on report, will I just tell the opinion, or will I also tell that the qualified opinion will lead to a modified report? The qualified opinion will lead to a modified report. Will lead to a modified report. Examiner was asking for report, right? Not opinion. I hope you read the question carefully, right? So the auditor will issue a modified opinion. Which modified opinion? Qualified opinion. And because of the qualified opinion, what will be the impact on the report? Will the report be unmodified or will the report be modified? Right? Modified opinion is one thing, modified report is another thing, right? So because of the modified opinion, the report will become modified. So was the examiner asking for the impact on opinion, or was the examiner asking for an impact on the report? Are you clear? Okay. So how many points will I get out of my 6 marks here? Reluctant will give rise to a modified opinion. If I explain this point, I will get 1 mark. Qualified opinion, 1 mark. And the qualified opinion will give rise to a modified report, 1 mark. At least I can get 3 marks out of my bullets. The bullet in the red is just a knowledge, right? The bullet in the red is just the knowledge. That was just the knowledge, right? Okay, move further. Further actions. What further action should I take? What literally means when the examiner asks you actions? What is the literal meaning of the word action in a reporting question? In a reporting question, what is meant by actions? Write this answer with all of you, please. Actions means steps taken by the auditor to resolve an issue. To resolve an issue. And if the issue is not resolved, then issue a qualified opinion as above is also an action. Read this statement carefully. Action means steps taken by the auditor to resolve an issue. And if the issue is not resolved as above, a qualified opinion is also an action. Agree or disagree? Is it common sense? When the auditor issue a qualified opinion, do you believe this is also an action of the auditor? So what actions are we taking here? Are we taking actions to resolve an issue? How would you resolve this issue? Do you believe you should as your number one action, as your number one action, do you discuss with audit committee? Do you discuss with audit committee the reasons, discuss with audit committee the basis, why are they reluctant? Why are they reluctant to provide a full note? Why are they reluctant to provide a full note? Should you discuss with audit committee the need to ensure openness and transparency of information to shareholders? Will you discuss with them that as an audit committee, you need to ensure openness and transparency of information to shareholder? Then why are you concealing something from the shareholder? Do you believe audit committee should conceal something from the shareholder? Discuss with the audit committee, right? The need to ensure the openness and transparency of information to shareholder. Discuss with audit committee the basis why are they reluctant to provide a full note. And finally, you can discuss with audit committee the likely the likely implications on audit report. You're not telling, you're just writing a journal statement, right? You're saying discuss with audit committee the likely implication on audit report if the full note is not given. So you are trying to pressurize them, right? You're trying to intimidate them. Discuss with audit committee the likely implication on the audit report if the full note is not given. Have you discussed the implication on the audit report in a separate part of this question? So you're just writing a journal sentence that you should discuss with the audit committee the likely implication. And you have already informed the examiner of the likely implication. So have we tried taking steps to resolve the matter? Have we discussed with the audit committee the basis why they're reluctant to understand their perspective? Have we discussed with the audit committee that you should work in the best interest of the shareholder? So did we try to change the mindset of the audit committee? So we got 3 marks from above and we got 3 marks from the bullets over here. Please, you can write actions in bullets. Actions can be written in bullets, but you need to write the implication for the audit report in a paragraph. The implication for audit report in a paragraph. Is that clear to everyone? So this is a note for all of you. Is this December 13 paper clear to all of you? On this basis, you have to solve the December 18 paper, question number 2 on going concern. Please, on my assessment, going concern sounds like an important area for December exams. So please spend proper time on going concern. I hope you're able to understand the requirements, impact on report, actions, and the matters which brings doubt on the going concern status and the marking scheme, right? Everything in the reporting question is worth 1 mark, with the exception of going concern, where every matter is worth 2 marks, right? Now we're taking a break, and post break, we'll resume with 2 more papers. One paper is the question number 5 of the December 17 exam. I will just help you understand the requirements of the question 5 of December 17, and I will solve one part of that paper, and you will do the rest yourself. And then I will be discussing the requirements of the question 2B with you of the June 19 exam, which was communication to those charged with governance, to help you understand the requirement. And I will be solving just a 10 to 15% part of the question so that you are able to understand how you solve it. So I will spend equal time on both the questions. So once I resume after the break, half the time I'll spend on December 17 and half the time I'll spend on June 19. So by the end of the webinar today, you are capable of understanding the requirements and you're capable of understanding how you should go down on a reporting area, right? Okay, just before I exit from the first part and give you a break, your overall feedback about the webinar today, have you been able to learn something in the last 90 minutes? Has this 90 minutes brought any clarity to you in terms of reporting? Has it been able to help you mitigating some of your misconceptions, everyone? Okay, and please, you have to watch my 3 previous webinars, right? Three previous webinars, right? Rizwana Raza, you can only write qualified opinion. No need to write except for. These are interchangeable words. For the sake of class, I write except for, but in exam, you just only write qualified opinion. That is it. No need to write except for, right? Okay, please have a break, everyone. I also need a break to relax my throat, and so I can speak better in the last 1 hour of the webinar, right? And really apologize for the coughing during the webinar. I believe it sounds bad, but I cannot do anything else than to conduct this live webinar with this very bad throat. So off to a break, and we'll resume back in 15 minutes. Please be back into the classroom at 10 to 10:22. Seems like an odd time, but please be back from break till 10:22 p.m. That's exactly 15 minutes from now, right? So we have a break till 10:22. Okay, off to a break, and thank you very much for these medical suggestions and prayers you're giving. Thank you very much for the prayers and the get well soon wishes, and thank you very much for some very interesting comments on the medical treatments, right? The herbal treatments, which are indeed are very good for this particular scenario I'm going through. Thank you very much, right? Off to a break, so I can do these medical remedies which students are guiding me, and come back taking the live class at 10:22 p.m. Off to a break, everyone. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope all of you can hear me and my voice is clear to all of you. Okay, thank you very much. So we are resuming right after the break, and we are focusing now on two more questions from the past papers. So we are fully equipped with the requirements of the reporting questions, right? Okay, let's move on. Let's start on with another question. Okay, now the question we are looking for from the December 17 exams, the question number 5, the requirements of this question, right, are very typical, and you will find these requirements in many past papers of reporting. So it's better you understand it once. So the reason I am choosing this question is that the requirements of this question are very repetitive, and you should understand them so that you can solve many past papers. And also, a question like such, December 17, question number 5, looks very potential, right, for exams coming up in December. So let's understand the requirements of this question number 5. And on the basis of this, you have to solve another question, which is September 18, question number 2. Let's look at the requirements of the December 17 exams. Okay, December 17 in front of your screen, and just give me 1 minute so we can just explore the requirements. Okay, I hope you can all see the requirements in orange. Can you just spend 1 minute to read the requirements? Giving you 1 minute, right? Please do read the requirements coming in front of your screen. Okay, have you been able to read the requirements? Okay, that's great. And how many problems, how many matters we have above? Examiner is saying for matters described above. How many matters we have above? Can you see this? How many matters we have above? 3. And do we have separate marks, separate marks for each of the 3 parts? Examiner is saying we have. Okay, we have total of 15 marks, right? So the examiner is saying the total marks will be split equally between each part. The total marks will be split equally between each part. So we have total of 15 marks. So that means we have 5 marks for each of the requirements above. We have 5 here, we have 5 here, and we have 5 marks here. Okay, now let's first understand the requirements. Okay, I'm pasting the requirement here, and we understand the requirement. Okay, just 1 minute. Let me present the requirement to you in a very proper manner so we understand this requirement and you can solve many past papers on the basis of this requirement. Okay, I'm reading the requirement. Keep your focus strong. For each of the matter described above, for each of the matter described above. Now, how many matters we have above? We have a matter 1, we have a matter 2, and we have a matter 3. There are 3 matters, right, in this question. So examiner is saying for each of the matter described above, what we need to do. Explain the matters. You need to explain the matters which should be discussed with management. So what you should do, you should explain the matters which should be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement. So is the examiner telling you what are the matters above? Do you believe the matters above relates to uncorrected misstatements? Agree, disagree? Do you believe the matters given above are in relation to uncorrected misstatements? So do you have an uncorrected misstatement in matter 1? Do you have an uncorrected misstatement in matter 2? Do you have an uncorrected misstatement in matter 3? So in the matter 1, you have an uncorrected misstatement, right? Same goes with meta 2 and same goes with meta 3. So that is the same phenomena. Now examiner is asking you explain the matters which you should discuss with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatements. So matters you should discuss with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement. Now, the very first matter you discuss with management in relation to uncorrected misstatement is the materiality of the misstatement. Number two, you discuss with management the accounting treatment, if possible, in the case study. Number three, you discuss with the management the impact on financial statements of the uncorrected misstatement. That is, you discuss with management the impact on the financial statement of the uncorrected misstatement. That is, what will be understated and what will be overstated because of the uncorrected misstatement. So you discuss with management the materiality, you discuss with management the treatment, you discuss with management the impact on the financial statement. So examiner is saying matters you should discuss with management. Matters you should discuss with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement. So will we discuss materiality of the misstatement? Will we discuss the treatment of misstatement? Will we discuss the impact of on the financial statement of an uncorrected misstatement, right? Matters you should discuss. And there can be any case specific matter. There can be any case specific matter. Be mentally prepared. Be mentally ready. You cannot just go into the exam hall with materiality, treatment, impact on financial statement. This is rote learning. It will help you. But can there be any other matter in the case which you should discuss with management? When you read the case, you believe, oh, this is a matter which I should be discussing with management, right? So matters you should discuss with management, right? And what is the second thing the examiner is asking you? Assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement identified. Assuming that the management does not adjust the misstatement, evaluate evaluate the effect of each on the audit opinion. On the audit opinion or on the audit report? What is the examiner asking in the second part? Effect on the audit report or effect on the audit opinion? Okay, then in the next part, evaluate the effect on the audit opinion. So for each uncorrected misstatement, you have to evaluate the effect on the audit opinion. You need to judge which opinion will be given and why. Which opinion you need to give and why, right? So is everyone clear of the of the breakdown? Is everyone clear of the breakdown? So is everyone clear about matters you should discuss with management? So in a reporting question, if the examiner asks for matters you should discuss with management, will you know the breakdown of the matters you should discuss with management? And I have already made you clear about effect on the audit opinion, right? You should know the difference between effect on audit opinion, effect on audit report, and effect on the financial statement. I hope you're mentally clear with that. So for every matter, you will do the same exercise which I just did with you on the matter number 1. Okay, can we just solve matter 1 as an example? And on that basis, you can solve the matter 2 and you can solve the matter 3, right? Okay, let's solve the matter 1. And on that basis, you solve the matter 2 and matter 3. Okay, I'm taking the example and I'm giving you the solution to matter 1. How many marks we have for matter 1 in total? We have in total 5 marks for matter 1. And how many things we have to do for matter 1? Number 1, discussion with management, and number 2, the impact on opinion. Impact on opinion. So are these the two things we have to do in context of 5 marks? Okay, let's read the case. Okay, can you all just spend 5 minutes reading the first part. Okay, read from here to here. Your time starts now. You have 4 minutes to read the paragraph highlighted in orange in front of your screen. I hope you're all reading, right? Okay, have you all read it? The paragraph in orange, particularly the first problem. Okay, that's great. Waiting for other students' feedback. Have you been able to read it? Okay, that's great, right? So we have the first problem, right? And we need to discuss the first problem. Okay, let's copy the first problem and let's discuss the first problem. Okay, we have 5 marks for the first problem, the uncorrected misstatement. Let's see how we identify the materiality of the uncorrected misstatement and how we go about the solution part, right? Okay, let's see the first part. The accuracy of the depreciation charge was investigated for a sample of motor vehicles with a carrying amount of 4.5 million. So what was the sample of motor vehicles the auditor took for the depreciation charge? The sample of motor vehicles you took was 4.5 million. And what was the purpose? Right? And what was the purpose of this sample of 4.5 million? To confirm the accuracy of the depreciation charge. Okay. The investigation revealed that the accounting system had failed. So when you took a sample of 4.5 million, that sample revealed that the accounting system had failed. The accounting system had failed to correctly record the depreciation on the vehicles. So the accounting system had failed to correctly record the depreciation on the total assets? No, on the vehicles, only on the vehicles. Consequently, depreciation in the sample had been understated and the carrying value of the vehicles overstated by 350. So in your sample of 4.5 million, how much understatement you found? In a sample of 4.5 million, you found an understatement and you found an overstatement of $350,000. The depreciation expense was understated and the vehicles were overstated. The total value of motor vehicles. What is the total value of the motor vehicles? 125 million. Now, we know the auditor work on a sample basis, right? And because when the auditor works on a sample basis, So you need to be very critical when you're finding the materiality here. When you find the materiality, you will say materiality of the uncorrected misstatement, materiality of the uncorrected misstatement, that is bracket open. How much is the total misstatement? In a sample of 0.35 was the misstatement in a sample of 4.5 million. Agree? In a sample of 4.5 million, how much was the misstatement? 0.35, right? So how much will be the total misstatement in the value, in the total value of the motor vehicles? The total value of the motor vehicles were 125. You took a sample, and in the sample, how much misstatement you identified? Whenever the auditor find a misstatement in a sample, I hope you all know the rule that you extrapolate the misstatement to the overall population. Is that true? Whenever you find a misstatement in a sample, the auditor extrapolate the misstatement in a sample to the total population. So how much is the total population of the vehicles? Everyone, how much is the total population of the vehicles? 125. So 0.35 divided by 4.5 multiply by 125 million is equal to, how much is the misstatement in the overall population? $9. The materiality of the uncorrected misstatement, that is $9.72 million, is a fill in the blank percent, whatever that is, of the total assets, and a fill in the blank percent of the profit before tax. Just let me confirm one thing from the paper. We have been given the total assets number, right? And we have been given the profit number, right? So do you believe the depreciation will affect the P&L, the profit, and the depreciation will affect the total assets, right? So in a reporting question, we find materiality on both the P&L and both the total assets, right? Please remember one rule, that when you are attempting a reporting question, you need to find the materiality on all the classes: revenue, profit, and total asset. If the examiner has only given you two classes, then you will find it on the two classes. If the examiner has given you one class, you will find it on one class. So in a reporting question, you need to find the materiality on all the classes given, whether one class given, two class given, or three class given. Is that clear? So how many classes has the examiner given us here? How many classes has the examiner given us here? Three. So will we find it on all three? And on whichever it becomes the highest, we choose it. Okay, let's do it. Materiality of an uncorrected misstatement, that is $9.72 million, is how much percentage of the total assets? Anyone can give me the answer? Okay, one student is giving me 0.026% of the total assets, comma, comma, and how much percentage of the revenue? And 0.017% of the revenue. And how much percentage of the profit? And 0.38% of the profit. Is that the right percentages, everyone? I'm believing on your percentages, right? Materiality of the uncorrected misstatement of 9.72 million is 0.026% of the total assets, 0.017% of the revenue, and 0.38% of the profit, right? Thus, immaterial to all, thus immaterial to financial statements. Is that right? Do you find any percentage to be material? Do you find any percentage to be material? So have we concluded on the materiality, that the extrapolated misstatement, the materiality of the uncorrected misstatement, right? So whenever we investigate a sample, we extrapolate the sample to the overall population. So materiality of the uncorrected misstatement is immaterial to the financial statement, right? So will we get 1 mark for that? Full stop. So will we discuss with the management that even though the extrapolation is immaterial to the financial statement, we need to discuss with management the first thing, materiality. The second thing we'll discuss with the management is the failure of the accounting system to correctly record the depreciation, correctly record the depreciation. Do you believe this is an important matter you should discuss with management? The failure of the accounting system to correctly record the depreciation is an internal, the failure to record the failure of the accounting system to correctly record the depreciation is another matter which should be discussed with management, and to highlight to highlight to the management that due to this failure, the depreciation charge of other assets, the depreciation charge of other assets, the depreciation charge of other assets could also be misstated, and which if combined with vehicles could be materially misstated, could be material. We are telling management that on the basis of the vehicles it's immaterial, but because this accounting system records the depreciation, which is very important, and because of the failure of this accounting system to record a correct depreciation, and if we take the failure on the other assets, like the property, plant, and equipment, is there a chance that if the depreciation of the other assets are also wrongly calculated, the amount can become material? Currently, it's just 9.72 million, right? But can this amount become bigger if we look at the other tangible assets, right? So should we tell management that the failure of an accounting system is very important, because the failure of an accounting system can affect the depreciation charge not just of vehicles, it can also affect the depreciation charge of others, right? So second mark. So we discussed with management the materiality, we discussed with management the failure of the accounting system. Will we also discuss with the management that on the basis currently on the basis of vehicles only currently on the basis of vehicles only currently on the basis of vehicles only currently on the basis of the vehicles only, the extrapolated misstatement means that the depreciation expense is understated and the vehicles are overstated by dollar 9.72 million, right? Clear, everyone? Thus, okay, now just one thing I missed out, right? Did you found this value 9.72 million? Did you calculated this value 9.72 million, or was that given in the case study? Did you calculated this value 9.72 million, or was it given in the case study? Did you uh, was that an effort of a student to find this value? So if you do effort in the exam paper to calculate a value, so this value calculation of 9.72 million will give you 1 mark even. So please write in the bracket 1 mark after the value, and then 1 mark on the comment that it is immaterial. So when you comment on it, it is immaterial, that will give you another 1 mark. So 2 marks from the first paragraph. So if you calculate a value in the exam paper of a misstatement in a reporting question, you will get 1 mark for calculating the right value, because a lot of student can calculate the value wrong. And then your comment on the materiality is 1 mark. The failure of the accounting system is another 1 mark. And then telling management that currently uh, the depreciation is understated by 9.72 million and vehicles are overstated by 9.72 million has given you another 1 mark. Okay, should we discuss impact on opinion now? Considering the extrapolated misstatement, to be immaterial, the auditor will issue a unqualified opinion. The auditor will issue an unqualified opinion on the financial statements. However, if if other misstatements combined combined with this one becomes material, the opinion might change. So currently for 9.72 million, do you all agree that the auditor will issue an unqualified opinion? But do you believe if other misstatements are combined with this one later, this one becomes material, the opinion might change later? Is that true? We still need to solve the B part, we still need to solve the C part. But do you all agree for the A part, the opinion will be unqualified? But when we do the aggregation of misstatements, in the part B we have another misstatement, in the part C we have another misstatement. So can do the auditor aggregate misstatements? But on the individual basis, do you all agree this will be an unqualified opinion? So for telling the opinion, will we get 1 mark? So can you see 5 marks in front of the screen? The very first discussion we had with the management was materiality. The second discussion we had with the management was the failure. The third discussion we had with the management was the understatement and the overstatement. And finally, we discussed with management the impact on opinion. Is that clear to everyone? So please ensure you know the requirement. If you know the requirement, you can write the good answer. But if you don't know the requirement, you might mess up a reporting answer. So have you got clarity on understanding the requirement? And if any such requirement comes at home when you're practicing, will you be able to plan this requirement? Will you write a proper answer? Okay, that's great. Okay, please solve the other two parts of this question. And when you see my previous webinar, I have also discussed this question in terms of understanding of the requirements. So my previous webinars will also help you with the December 17 question number 5. I hope you're all clear. I'm moving towards the last question. Okay, I hope you're done. We're going to the last question now. And the last question we are taking is from the June 19 exams. And it is the question number 2B. And this question came on communication to those charged with governance, Let's understand this. Yes, exactly right, Ariba. Because we only know the value of the vehicle in the paper, right? So we know the total value of vehicles. So we divided the misstatement and extrapolated them on the vehicles. Had we known the total value of the tangible assets, the 9.72 million would have become a bigger figure, right? But in the context of the exam, we just know the value of the vehicles. So we extrapolated the misstatement only on the vehicles value, right? Okay, June 19 paper, question number 2B, another question which looks potential. I hope on the screen in front of you, you can see the question number 2. Right? Can all of you see the question number 2A in front of your screen from the June 19 exams? Okay. Okay, we need to do the B part. So go to the B part. This is the B part. Okay, let's see what is the requirement. Can you just spend 1 minute reading the requirement from here to here? Just 1 minute. Can you just read the requirement in orange quickly? Right? How many marks we have for this requirement? 15 marks out of the 25 marks. Such an important requirement. And this question has only come once. Is there a potential that examiner might repeat this question in December exams or later exams? The answer to this is yes. So let's understand and let's explore this question. Let's explore the requirements. Okay, copy paste. Let's see what is the requirement asking us. From the information provided above, very good. We'll read that. Recommend the matters which should be included. Recommend the matters which should be included. Where? Which should be included in the Eddy and Company. Eddy and Company is the audit report, right? In the Eddy and Company report to those charged with governance. So is the examiner saying matters to be included in the audit report? No. Matters to be included in Eddy and Company report to those charged with governance and explain the reason for their inclusion. Why will you include that matter? So how many marks we have? 15. Now how would you go about it? Everything in a reporting question is worth how many marks? Whether it is a report to shareholder or whether it is a report to those charged with governance, everything is worth 15, 1 mark, right? So how many marks we have? 15. So how many points we need to identify for a 15 marks answer? 15, right? Such a lengthy answer. Let's see how. Examiner is saying from the information above. So you will read the case. And when you're reading the case, what will you do? You will identify the matters to be included in the report to those charged with governance. So you will identify the matters to be included in the report to those charged with governance. And for each matter, you explain why. Why will you include that in a report? And 1 mark per matter. Even 1 mark per recommendation. Because when you're writing a report to those charged with governance, you also give recommendation in that report. So the report to those charged with governance not only contain the problem, but the report to those charged with governance also contain the solution. I hope you read that in the AA paper, the F8 paper. So 1 mark per matter. Why? And for that matter, if you give recommendation, you will get 1 mark for recommendation. So if you pick up a problem, if you pick up an issue which you will be reporting to those charged with governance, you will get 1 mark for that. But if you recommend to those charged with governance, how will they overcome the problem? You will get 1 mark for overcoming the problem. Is that clear to everyone? So for every matter, I will get 1 mark, whether that is the explanation of the issue or whether that is the recommendation. Is everyone clear? So if I explain a matter, I'll get 1 mark. If I provide a recommendation, I'll get 1 mark, right? Is that clear, everyone? So when we write a report to those charged with governance, so do we give recommendations in a report to those charged with governance? Or we just tell the issues? Please remember, in a report to those charged with governance, you tell the issues and you tell the recommendations of the issues, right? So just recap. How to gain knowledge? How to gain knowledge on the report to TCWG. Is there any source? Yes, I mentioned to you to read an article. Read an article. Read an article, which is auditor's report to those charged with governance. And I even shared the hyperlink, right, with all of you. So please do read the article, and also remember that when you write a report, also remember that a report to TCWG includes number one, the report to TCWG includes the issue and the recommendation. The issue and recommendation, right? So this is what you will gain from the article of the examiner even. So please read the article so that you have a very good knowledge. And secondly, also remember that what does this includes. Okay. Let's read the case, right? Let's do the reading of the case and let's see, just read the case and let's solve some part of it. Is everyone clear with the requirement? Are you understanding the requirement for 15 marks? And will you be reading the article recommended to you on auditor report to those charged with governance? Please, this is an important topic. This have only come once, so you can expect this coming second time in your exams, most likely. Okay, let's read the case and see if we can find some answers to write. Okay, do me a favor. Can you just read the intro para first quickly? The intro para will give you nothing, but at least to give you a start, just read the intro para in 1 minute in orange so that you know what exactly is happening. Just 1 minute, right? Read the intro para and tell me you're done with it. Okay, I think the only important information in the first para is the classes of materiality, which can help us later. So when we read the case, do we know the classes of materiality which can help us later to find the materiality? Revenue, profit, and assets, right? Examiner has given us the numbers, right? The revenue is $247 million. The profit is $14.6 million, and the total assets are $535 million, right? So at least from the first paragraph, we got to know the classes of materiality, which can help later to comment. Even in a report to those charged with governance, right? When you comment on the materiality, you will also get 1 mark, right? So please also write this here. 1 mark per matter, 1 mark per recommendation, and in a report, 1 mark per comment on materiality. So if you comment on materiality somewhere in your report to those charged with governance, you will also get 1 mark per comment on materiality. So I hope you have a lot of opportunities to gain 15 marks, right? Is everyone clear with the yellow on your screen? 1 mark per matter. Why 1 mark per recommendation and 1 mark per comment on materiality in an audit report to those charged with governance, right? Okay, let's see if we have the first problem to write and explain. You go down further in the June 19 paper and you read this. Okay, please read it till here because I need to shift the page. I don't have space. So just read this paragraph in orange. Okay, so I hope you have read that the company's draft financial statement includes a property portfolio of $315 million, a property portfolio of $315 million, all of which is legally owned. In the current year, the company has chosen to adopt a policy of revaluing its property portfolio for the first time, and this is reflected in the draft financial position, right? The audit work on the property, plant, and equipment, including testing a sample of revaluations, right? So your audit work includes a sample. Eddy and Company, Eddy and Company, the first problem, right? See the first problem, which you should be reporting to those charged with governance. Eddy and Company, read from here to here. See if you can find the first problem which you will be communicating to those charged with governance. Because so far there is no problem, right? Read this paragraph in orange. See if you can find some problems to make up your 15 marks answer. Because if there is a problem, you will report that to those charged with governance. Okay. So Eddy and Company requested at the planning stage that the independent external valuer report should be made available to the audit team at the start of the final audit. All these documents were not available when requested, and it took 3 weeks for them to be received. So is that the first issue you will be telling to those charged with governance, that uh, the documents were delayed? Is that important to be informed to TCWG that we didn't get the documents on time and it delayed our audit? It caused inefficiencies in our audit, right? So we requested the documents, we requested the external valuer report, but it took 3 weeks for them to be received. So the very first issue you will be telling in the report to those charged with governance is number one, issues. The first issue is it took 3 weeks for the external valuer report to be received by the audit team. It took 3 weeks for the external valuer report to be received by the audit team. Obviously, this must have caused inefficiencies in the audit, and this must have caused inefficiencies, and this must have caused auditor to perform procedures late, right? It must have delayed your procedures, right? It must have resulted in you performing procedures late on the external value report. So it took 3 weeks for the external value report to be received by the audit team. Auditor will never like that, right? Auditor might think that the management is hiding something from them, or the management is concealing something from them if the management delays providing information to auditor. So do you believe if the management delays providing information to the auditor is a matter of concern? Should it be reported to the management? Should it be reported to those charged with governance? Right? You should explain this point, right? This is just an exercise we're doing to identify the problems. Okay, let's see if there is another problem. Okay, go back to the case study. The next point. The audit working paper also identified that on a review of a non-current asset register, there were properties with a total carrying value of 11.1 million. Will you find materiality of 11.1 million? There were properties with a total carrying amount of 11.1 million, which had not yet been revalued and were still recorded at cost. When we revalue, should we revalue the class of the assets? Should we revalue the class of assets? So should we revalue every property? But the management has not revalued property worth 11.5 millions and there's 1 million and they're still being recorded at cost. Is that something wrong? So should we first find the materiality of 11.1 million? A materiality of $11.1 million? Will that give me 1 mark? Will I then discuss the right accounting treatment Will I discuss the right accounting treatment in my report to those charged with governance? Should I tell them the right accounting treatment? Should I also discuss with them the the misstatement that currently currently $11.1 million worth of properties are held at cost. Thus, properties could be understated. Properties could be understated. Should I discuss with management the misstatement? No, I'm just doing the brainstorming, right? Please, the issue, you need to write answer in a paragraph form with headings. I'm just doing the bullets to give you idea of the problems, right? I'm giving you ideas of the 15 marks. So it took 3 weeks is the first problem. You have to put a paragraph for this. The second problem is the properties. $11.1 million is the materiality. Discuss the right accounting treatment with management and the misstatement, and you will discuss with management the misstatement, right? Discuss the misstatement that currently 11.1 million worth of properties are held at cost. Thus, properties are understated. Am I right? So, should we discuss these things with management, with those charged with governance in a report? So, we got how many marks? Almost like 4 marks so far, right? Okay, let's do one more exercise finally for the class. I hope you're getting sense that you're reading the case study, you're finding the problems which should go in the report to those charged with governance. If there is a problem, you will tell management the solution, right? Even for the first problem, when it took 3 weeks, you should recommend to the management for 1 mark. You should tell management for 1 mark that evidence should be provided to the auditor on timely basis. 1 mark, right? Auditor don't like evidence to be delayed, right? Okay, one last exercise. Look at this next paragraph. See how many marks can you make from this next paragraph. Just read this paragraph as the last one. And then you have ethical problems coming in the next one. Read this paragraph and tell me how many marks can you score from this paragraph. You have 2 minutes. Right, so I hope you found two problems here. One is the one, first of all, you will find the materiality of 13.2 million. And I hope you all agree that the renovation work of 13.2 million, which is included in the operating expenses, is wrong. It should have been capitalized. Do you believe the renovation has resulted in increase in customer numbers and revenue? So if the renovation has resulted in increase in customer numbers and revenue, should it be recognized as a capital expenditure? So should you find the materiality of 13.2 million, number one? You will find the materiality of $13.2 million, 1 mark. You will discuss the right accounting treatment of $13.2 million. That is, it should be capitalized, 1 mark. You should also discuss with management that currently, because it has been recognized as expenses, Thus, expenses are overstated and profit is understated. And profit is understated, right? So currently they have recorded them as expenses. So your expenses are overstated and the profit is understated. You will get 1 mark for that. Further, you have another problem that the capital expenditure is not authorized. Is not authorized. I think if I'm not picking wrong, capital expenditure authorized form has not been completed. Capital expenditure authorization form is not completed. 1 mark, and you will explain that the management should authorize. The capital expenditure authorization forms are not completed, and management should authorize the forms carefully. You give them a suggestion, right? But I hope you're getting the track of the answer. I hope you're getting to know what you need to do for 15 marks. When you're reading the case, obviously there will be a problem. Problem like it took 3 weeks for the evidence to be available. Problem like the wrong accounting treatments. Problem like that you treated the capital expenditure as an operating expense, so on and so forth. So if you look at the bullets, so far we got so many marks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We almost got 10 marks out of 15. So is everyone clear? So if a question comes on matters to be included in a report to those charged with governance, will you be identifying the methods to be communicated from the case study? If you find the materiality, you will get 1 mark. If you find a wrong accounting treatment, you will find marks. If you find a control deficiency, you will find marks. Even ethical problems. If there is any ethical issue, you should also report that to those charged with governance. See, in the last paragraph, when you read that at home, the last paragraph consists of an ethical problem. So you even communicate ethical problems to those charged with governance. But I hope the requirements which I brainstormed with you in the session today, you're all clear on those requirements. Please give me answers to my questions now. Are you all clear on the requirements which I drilled with you in the session today? Are you understanding the breakdown of the requirements? Are you clear on how to read those requirements? So the requirement on the going concern, the requirement on impact on opinion, impact on report, impact on financial statement, the requirements on matters to be discussed with management in relation to each of the uncorrected misstatement, the requirements on matters to be included in a report to those charged with governance, right? So I hope you got the marking scheme for reporting. You got the marking scheme for going concern. I drilled with you 3 questions, December 13, December 17, and June 19. And if you watch my previous webinars, I have done more questions. So please try to do whatever has been recommended to you on the day 5. This will improve your reporting answer quality, right? I hope you had uh, a good session in terms of learning and you gained some knowledge, which, if put in the right manner, will give you a great opportunity to pass the AAA paper in December, right? So I hope over the last 5 days of these webinars, you have gained something. I hope you must have gained something, right? You cannot just say I didn't gain anything. I hope you gained something in the last 5 days, which will definitely help you towards success in the upcoming exams. I'm still recommending to all of you, please do watch my previous webinars. Do whatever has been guided to you. Please do read examiner articles I recommended you on the day one. So whatever I recommended you every day, including the final day today, please ensure you implement that in a very, very effective manner, right? You are all on my WhatsApp group, and I will be posting um, important informations on the WhatsApp group after the 15th of November. I might be posting some important areas which are more likely for December exams after the 15th of November. Uh, the WhatsApp group have been made for purpose. I might, after I share the day 5 resources with you on the WhatsApp group tomorrow, I will open the WhatsApp group for student conversations, right? So you can interact with one another, you can share information with one another. So till tomorrow, I will keep the WhatsApp group closed and then I'll open it up, right? And I will be posting some important informations before your exams after the 15th of November. But I hope you will utilize the WhatsApp group in a productive manner. You will help each other. And more importantly, you will find the best strategy to pass your upcoming exams, which is very, very important, right? So thank you very much, all of you, for taking your time out and you participated in the live webinar, which is very, very good. And I wish you all success in your upcoming exams and looking forward to having a wonderful feedback from you when you appear in exam on the 7th of December. So with this, I'm coming to the end of this AAA webinar, which was designed by ACCA Pakistan, and I was basically the facilitator of this webinar. And I tried my best to give you as much knowledge as possible uh, in this webinar, and even thought of that my webinars are available with all of you over Vimeo, and that can also help you with extra knowledge because this was my 10th webinar, right? So I tried my best to keep it different from the previous one, and even had in mind that you have access to my previous webinar, right? So you have loads and loads of library of my webinars available, which ACCA Pakistan has conducted, and that can help you find the right strategy to pass. Already, a lot of students have used these webinars and had been successful. Amazing results are coming out of these webinars. Students across the world are using these webinars, and it is translating into success stories. So many students correspond with me that how these webinars have changed their view of the AAA paper and how many students have passed the AAA paper in the last 10 sittings just because of these webinars. So I hope you also use them in a better manner, everyone. So my prayers are with you. I wish you all success. I wish you success in your upcoming exams, and very thankful for all the wishes you're giving to me, the get well soon wishes, and many thanks for all the medical treatments you're guiding me about the throat infection and how to overcome the throat infection. Really thankful for that. And I will be implementing your medical recommendations. You need to implement my AAA strategy, and I will be implementing your medical suggestions to overcome my throat infection, right? So let's do a bargain, right? I apply what you are telling me, and you apply what I am telling you, right? Have a nice day ahead. Study effectively, utilize your 4 weeks in a very productive manner, and I'll be in connection with you over the WhatsApp group, right? So take care. Goodbye, everyone. I'll be sharing the resources with you, right, tomorrow of the day 5 recordings and everything. And after tomorrow, the WhatsApp group will be opened for discussions. So have a nice day and study effectively. Right, the webinar will end anytime. So I have signed off from the webinar, right?